participate in the poll. Right, so this Southwest Airlines company is offering 4 flights per week, and they're considering adding the 5th flight. And if they do so, there will be a cost of that much per flight or per seat. And calculate incremental cost borne by ahead with, okay. And they're trying to do the trial period flights of 60. And first question is, what is the marginal cost? Okay, let's define marginal cost in the first place. What is a marginal cost? Anyone? So it's the cost, change in the total cost when an additional unit is produced, yeah? Or it's cost per unit when additional units are produced. Now, then there's something called incremental cost. Incremental cost. It's the overall cost or the cost of managerial decision usually, yeah? So cost of managerial decision. Managerial decision, in this case, to expand. So it's the overall cost of managerial decision to expand, yeah? So there are two different costs, yeah? In this case, the first one, the marginal cost is equal to 110 per seat. So that's marginal cost. However, the decision to expand is going to be incremental cost, which is going to be 60 times 15,000. Yeah, this 15,000 per flight times 60. And that's going to give you 900,000. Now, question is, are these relevant, yeah, to decision making? Yes, they are certainly relevant to decision making. So that would be the answer. Well, one other thing is, if the revenues justify these costs, then the flights must be offered, yeah? So these are the only, I would say, these are the only relevant costs in most cases for the airline companies, and for, in fact, for anything, because we're making decisions at the margin in this case, yeah? Question number 2, indicate whether each of the following statements is true or false and explain why. So A, in long run equilibrium, every firm in a perfectly competitive industry earns 0 profit. So very quickly, what do you think, guys? Any thoughts?
True.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Any no's? False? Now, let's look at the types of profits you make from an economist's point of view.
3 different types: normal profit, supernormal profit, and economic profit.
What's a normal profit?
It's basically like breaking even. Oh no, it's
Anyone?
Excluding the economic costs or the opportunity costs.
Oh, no, then the answer is normal profit. It's not 0 profit.
Ah, okay.
Just because I thought when you said profit, I didn't know you were talking about normal profit.
Yeah. I'm assuming you watched the first lecture, short screencast. It's 11 minutes. So it's actually, the word is missing here, actually, 0 normal profit. Yeah, it's basically normal profit. When markets, in the long run, what happens is that your average variable cost, or average cost in this case, is gonna be tangent. The bottom of the average cost will be tangent to the price. So the price will be equal to average cost in the long run. Yeah. So it just barely covers the average costs. The price covers the average cost, and average cost in this case includes the opportunity costs as well. Don't forget. As a result, the firm makes a normal profit. Yeah, in the long run. Yeah, normal profit is when the investors get normal rate of return. Now, if they receive more than normal profit, it's called economic profit or above normal profits. And there could also be economic loss. I think this is not related right now. I just put it down to discuss this, but I think question D will ask us about economic loss. There we will discuss this. Okay, so this is false. Perfect competition exists in a market when all firms are price takers as opposed to price makers.
True.
So if you watch the...
True.
Yeah, thank you. Oh,
True.
what's happening? So
True.
if you watch the video, it would say market here. And this is in this, this is a firm, yeah? Market has an equilibrium price, which is taken by demand, average revenue, marginal revenue, is taken as given by the firm, yeah? So it's a price taker. So all firms are price takers. Now, this is an interesting one. C, in competitive markets, price is greater than market marginal cost at the profit maximizing output level. What do you think, guys? Anyone? This is the type of question you will see in your exam, guys.
Doesn't it equal marginal cost?
Perfect. It does. Yeah, it should be. So in a perfectly competitive market, price must be equal to marginal cost to maximize the profits. Why is it? Is not it counterintuitive? What do you think, guys?
No, because it's still above the average cost.
Still above average cost. What do you mean? Can you elaborate that point? Interesting. Go ahead, guys. Don't be afraid to share what you have in mind. This is a learning process. We all make mistakes on a day. If I have several classes, I always have misspoke in the past or brain malfunctions completely, and then I said the opposite in some cases. Go ahead.
In order for there to be profit, doesn't the price have to be above the marginal and average cost?
Interesting. Yeah.
Because
Okay.
it says that we are in a competitive market, but there is profit maximizing output level. So I think that the profit should be bigger than the cost.
Profit from additional price of additional unit, you mean, not the profit?
The price from the additional unit. So there should be a marginal benefit,
Okay.
which is bigger than the marginal cost.
Then you can, yeah, okay, that's an interesting point. Basically, look at this now, guys. Let's understand this as much as we can. Let's say we want to produce this many units, Q1. And at this point, clearly, the price is higher than the marginal cost, right? Price is higher than the marginal cost. Can you see that? This is price. Yeah, this is marginal cost. But here, the average cost is greater than the price. Yeah, this is average cost. And remember, what's profit? Price minus average cost, or cost per unit. So price per unit minus cost per unit times the quantity. So that gives us a profit. So if we produce with this condition prevailing right there, we are not making that much profit. Let's move to this. Q2. That's a little higher marginal cost, but obviously price is still higher than marginal cost, and price is higher than average cost, right? But price is higher than average cost, and if we calculate the profit, that's how much profit we get. Makes sense, guys? Are you following me now? So this is the profit, which is the difference here, P minus AC, times the quantity gives us the profit. But it turns out if I increase my quantities, I may get more profit. Yeah, this is my price, this is my average cost, and this is even higher profit opportunity for me. This area is even higher because that's price. So this is my profit times the quantity gives me total profit. So that this thing increases. So I will keep increasing because there is more profit to earn. until I reach this point where price equals marginal cost, where the profit is the highest, because this additional profit is going to be added to my total profit. So this appears to look like my profit maximizing point.
I've
But
got a
let's start
question.
here. Yeah, go ahead.
So you're saying where MI equals MC is the lowest point on the average cost curve?
It's not the lowest point, but when you calculate the total profit, it gives you the highest profit
Okay.
with the quantities as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So lowest point is usually where the MC crosses the AC. But if you calculate the profit corresponding to that quantity, it's not going to be the highest. So it's the point where MC and P crosses, and the corresponding quantity will be profit maximizing quantity, because if you times that profit by the quantities you produced, that gives you the highest profit apparently. So there is there was an numerical question on this. Remember, from if you did my course last year, business economics, we did an exercise and we proved by a numerical example that this is the case. Yeah, so I don't have that numerical question in this exam, in this problem set, because that was basic numerical question. Now you have a little bit harder ones, although I realize that not many of you can remember that. Okay, so anyway, that was a good question actually. So marginal cost is here higher than the price. It automatically, you could see that right away that it's not going to justify. Yeah, production price doesn't justify this additional unit, so we have to move down. It's like a demand equilibrium point being the attracting point, where you have shortages, you push up the price. You have a surplus, you pull down the price. So eventually you settle at the equilibrium. Similarly, this is also case. Yeah, we don't call this equilibrium, but this is the case of profit maximizing output condition. So this is the reason why we have profit this thing being the profit maximizing output condition. Yeah. Now, downward sloping industry demand curve characterize perfectly competitive markets. Makes sense, guys?
Yes, it makes sense.
It's in the slides. Yeah, again. Yeah, this is the industry curve. This is the firm curve. Price equals demand. So yeah, short-term demand is basically flat. This is the price taken as given. So equilibrium in the market is basically determined by downward sloping demand curve for market and upward sloping supply curve for the market. But for individual firm, it's actually flat. So be careful in the test. If it says downward sloping firm demand curve characterized by perfectly competitive market, that would be false. But in this case, it's the word industry. Yeah, industry demand curve is downward sloping, but then firm is a price taker, so cannot at any quantity firm will have exactly the same price. But if you add this up in the market with all the firms facing the same demand curve, then as the quantity changes in millions, maybe here it's in thousands, yeah, this price changes because new firms come in and you have supply shift, and that shifts the price down. As a result, the demand curve downward as well. Firms exiting the market, supply shifts backwards, yeah, along the demand curve. So prices are determined in equilibrium as a result, along the demand curve. Last question. A firm might show accounting profits in a competitive market, but be suffering economic losses. True, false?
True.
Yeah.
True.
Anyone else, guys?
False.
So anyone who said true, can you explain, please, why this is the case?
It's because of the implicit cost.
Okay. There are implicit costs, yeah, factored into economists' profit calculations. So you may get out-of-pocket costs covered in your business, but not the opportunity costs covered, yeah? The implicit costs that are not visible to us. But these are the costs that we would like to consider before you start the business, yeah? So because of the existence of implicit costs. So as long as we make normal profit, which basically covers implicit and explicit costs, we stay in the business. But in the short run, it is possible that firms may suffer economic losses because of implicit costs. Now, again, I will encourage you to watch the video. 11 minutes. It's the first video of the week. That explains exactly what this answer is to this question. Yeah,
Sir,
go ahead.
can you go a bit up, please? Okay, right there. So the downward sloping demand curve is from the first graph that you made.
Mhm.
So demand where demand changes because of more people getting into the perfectly competitive market.
Demand changes, or you mean supply shifts?
Yes, supply and demand shifts because it's a perfectly competitive market.
There are two things here. Supply shifts when supply shifters happen, the factors. So by sellers entering the market reduces the supply downwards or shifts it to the right. Sellers leaving the market because of losses shifts supply backwards, but demand is not shifting here. So the industry demand curve is staying there, but equilibrium prices are changing, and these equilibrium price changes affects the
Supply.
firm's prices. Yeah, firm.
So
price.
the downward sloping is the first one or the second one?
Oh, the first one. It's the first one. It's this one. Let me draw this.
All right.
Yeah, it's this one. The second one is a firm demand. It's flat. It's a constant curve when price equals demand.
All right.
Yeah,
Thank
this one, industry. Yeah, guys, if you need clarification, do stop me. Rather, we would have a better understanding of this than moving ahead with the rest, because I can always provide you typed answers. Right, so will firms in industries in which high levels of output are necessary for minimum efficient scales tend to have substantial degrees of operating leverage? Okay, give examples of such firms and industries. Okay, there are firms before they reach minimum efficient scale. Let me show you what it is. Do you remember the minimum efficient scale, by the way?
Yeah.
What is it?
What is the minimum efficient scale?
Yeah, can you explain, please, what's minimum efficient scale? Let's say I've drawn this for you. So you can say, let me say this is Q1, this is Q2, this is Q3, and this is Q4. Which one of these is minimum efficient scale?
Q1 to Q2.
Q4.
Sorry, say it again?
Q2.
Q1 to Q2.
Okay, so anything on the flat point, yeah, flat point of the curve appears to be not moving the costs. Yeah, it's staying the same. So in this sense, Q1 is actually minimum efficient scale, and Q2 is a maximum efficient scale, and Q3 obviously is also either one of them, but not maximum certainly, also not minimum scale. Yeah, because we can still go there and produce less without affecting the average cost. We can still increase the production without affecting the average cost, but then it's gonna be maximum. Beyond this point, the costs are increasing, but within this range they are not. So minimum efficient scale is the first point from from that point the costs do not decline no matter how much you produce up to a certain range, yeah, up to a certain quantity. Beyond that, there is these economies of scale here, these economies of scale, and first firm experiences economies of scale. It turns out before some companies, some industries, before they reach this point, they reach the bottom of the curve, they have to produce a lot, substantial, yeah. And this kind of firms usually have something called high operating leverage. High operating leverage.
Can I ask a question?
High operating leverage. High operating leverage means when a firm has a high operating leverage, they will have higher fixed costs relative to variable costs. Their total fixed costs will be majority of its, maybe 80 to 90% of their cost base, total cost, will be basically fixed cost.
Excuse me, sorry.
Yeah. They are
I think
very
you
large companies, very large capital intensive companies that require huge amount of investment, which also require sort of constant maintenance or fixed costs basically. Yeah. So
Hi,
such
sorry, can you hear
firms,
me?
I'm going to answer this anyway fully. Such firms as airlines, compared
can
to
you?
their fixed costs, their variable cost is meager. It is nothing basically. Yeah, the one airline lease costs alone so
Parents used
much.
to be silent.
or maintenance of them. Basically, usually maintenance is fixed because they're done every year at a certain point. Apart from, of course, when the plane breaks down, this maintenance costs are huge. Their leasing, their parking fees,
You will not silence me.
their flight expenditure is nothing, compared to the fixed costs. Their wages is nothing compared to the fixed
You will
costs.
never
Allow
You
me.
silence
think of them as
the
costs in a
minorities.
way that every flight requires you some sort of additional cost. For example, the food cost.
This is
there's
oppression.
nothing there.
This is
Meager,
racist.
yeah, but their fixed costs are huge. So for them to reach the minimum efficient scale, they need to produce, they need to run or organize lots of flights and so on and so forth. Yeah, they usually tend to have high fixed costs. That makes sense, guys?
Can I ask a question?
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Okay.
May
Now
I
this is a
also ask a
good
question?
one.
Excuse me, sorry. May I ask a question?
What happened? Guys?
Hello.
Hello,
Wait.
what happened?
Oh, some of us are muted.
I can
You
hear
tell
a
him.
giggling somewhere,
Can someone?
but
can
my
someone tell
Zoom
him?
is not letting me.
I don't think you can hear us, sir.
I can hear you now. You just said I
I
don't.
think there's some students that are trying to speak and like you weren't responding. I don't think you could hear them.
Oh, I'm sorry. Where did you want to speak?
You know, hold on, I just got a little confusion here. You know, back in question 2A, this one, zero profit is normal profit, right?
Usually, when you have a normal profit,
Yeah.
we tend to call it zero profit. Yeah, but
Okay, so yeah, sorry.
it's usually zero normal profit. Zero normal profit. The word normal is missing here.
Oh, so then that's
Yeah,
false.
you just
The
need to
answer's
insert the
false.
normal. Yeah. This is gonna be
Okay.
false as a result.
Oh, okay, fine,
Yeah.
fine. All right, thank you.
No problem. So the three third-year business students are considering operating a fruit smoothie stand in the library square at QM Plus. So this is an alternative employment with alternative to, I should say, summer employment to with a local firm where they would each earn that much. Not bad actually over the summer period, 2,000 a month, over 3 months some period. A fully equipped facility can be leased, so that's a leasing cost. For some additional project costs are 1,000, for instance, insurance and per unit. So their fruit smoothie will be predicted to priced at that price. Okay, so this is basically A. I don't know why this is giving me wrong numbering. So what's the accounting cost for this business? So let's list the accounting costs. Is 8,000 accounting cost?
Yes.
Revenue.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Because it's an out-of-pocket money, yeah? Out-of-pocket cost. Is 1,000 an accounting cost?
Yeah.
Insurance
Yes.
payments are accounting costs
Yeah.
or not?
They are.
Yeah.
And how about this guy? How do we calculate 3.20 per unit? Because these are fixed costs, yeah? We have to leasing and insurance are not related to the quantities we sell or produce here. So these are variable costs. So what we do here is now 320 times Q. So this would be our accounting cost, yeah?
Yeah.
If we knew the quantities that we sold, we can work out what the accounting costs are. Right, so that's the answer. What is the economic cost function for this business? Well, economic costs are, well, let me do this, 9,000.
6,000.
I don't like this.
Is it 2,000?
No.
No, I have no idea.
Now, what is 6,000 here, guys? What is this?
Oh, for one, so by times 3, 6,000 times 3, because it's the opportunity cost, isn't it?
It is an opportunity cost, exactly. 3 people giving up 6,000 each to undertake this business or start the business, plus the accounting costs. So that's gonna be 20 what? 27? So yeah, this is the economic cost. So this is a bonus question. Now I don't know if you're familiar with the break-even point analysis, because in the microeconomics here we not actually taught properly or not actually covered, but it is essential that we discuss this as well. It's bonus, however. So optional bonus question: what is the economic break-even number of units for this firm or for this operation? Right. So how do we calculate the break-even point, guys? Anyone? Maybe you
put
had this in
5Q,
accounting.
5Q. Okay. Simran, please.
Yes,
Fixed cost?
yeah, fixed cost over selling price minus variable cost. That's that formula anyway.
Okay. So you know the formula, which is good.
Yeah.
But what's the criteria for break-even?
Yeah. Total revenue equals total cost.
Thank you. Total revenue equals total cost. And what's total revenue here?
Wait, sir, quickly. I think Evans is muted.
Thank you.
Yeah. Because he's trying to talk. He's trying to talk a lot. And you can't actually hear him.
Somebody is trying to talk.
Yeah, but you can't hear him because I think he's muted accidentally.
No, I unfortunately my Zoom is not allowing me to control the other functions either. So I can only stop. I can see my Zoom is gonna freeze if I do. So I'm not doing anything.
Okay.
If I cannot hear him, let him type it, and you please deliver the message to me.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
In the meantime, I'll just type in the answer here. So total revenue is price times quantity, remember? So price here is 5, quantity is the Q. What's total cost? Total economic cost. So that one plus 3.2. Quantity, yeah?
Good morning, Vietnam.
Now, these quantities now are break-even quantities, yeah? We just
Good morning, Vietnam.
outlined this or wrote this equation down based on the criteria of break-even point, break-even analysis, I should say. So now we'll gather the terms, similar terms on the one side. Right? So this is unknown Q, take away 3.2 Q from both sides. That gives us 5 minus 3.2, 1.8 Q equals 27,000. That's going to give us break-even point of 27,000 over 1.8, which is, what's this now? Let's see if I have it here. Okay, 15,000. So that's the break-even quantity. So basically, these three guys should sell 15,000 units before they make profit. They are in profit, yeah? Yeah, smoothies. So they need to sell 15,000 units. That's a big one. All right. Imagine that now. I think in total there are 25,000 students at Queen Mary. And in 3 months of summer period, I think you don't see more than 10% of them because summer period, isn't it? Not many will be there. Anyway, that's a hypothetical, interesting question. So if you don't have question about this point, this fourth question, I'll move on to number 5 now. And if anyone is trying to talk to me but I'm not able to see you guys, do please tell your friends so that they can deliver to me. My Zoom completely is gone now. It's completely unresponsive. I can only share and stop sharing. So now question number 5 says the long run supply curve for a given competitive firm can be written. Okay, let's write this down. Always write down in the exam whatever you see on the screen or on the paper. So that is our supply curve, isn't it? Because it's a positive value in front of P. Or inversely, if we do work out for P, you get 3125 plus 0.1255 QF, yeah? So now quantity is a function of price here, while price is a function of quantity in the second one. The second one is called inverse demand curve. Or inverse demand function here. But this is the demand that we usually deal with now or work with. Explain why the amount supplied by 50 such competitors is determined by multiplying the first expression by 50. First expression is this expression here. rather than by multiplying the second expression by similar amount. Well, if there are 50 companies, I'm really sorry for that. Let me just close this. Yeah. If there are 50 companies, then each of them supplying based on a similar demand function will be supplying certain amounts, yeah, depending on their production capacities. Now we then multiply each individual demand curve by 50 here. So in this case, to calculate the total market supply, so market supply here, we will multiply 250 by 50, yeah, this whole thing. So this would be the answer. So market supply will then be whatever the, so that's 5 minus plus 400p. So this is the market demand curve in the long run. But we cannot do this here because this is the price. Yeah, it's a function of price. This quantity is a function of price. So it doesn't give us the quantity demanded for the market. So we have to first, we'll have to deal with this function first, yeah? In fact, this is the only function we'll be working on to answer this question. It's the quantities that we need to work out for the 50 firms. Okay. Question number 6, if you don't have any more questions, and it is the final question. So let's think about this, guys. This is based on the lecture. New England Textiles is a medium-sized manufacturer blue denim that sells in a perfectly competitive market. Given 25,000 in fixed costs, this guy here, the total cost function for this product is described by that. So this is the total cost function. It's, remember, it's U-shaped, yeah? Total cost is U-shaped. This is quadratic function. Usually when you draw the quadratic functions, they look like this. Yeah, so that's exactly that's the case here. We need the square term here to get this total cost. And where Q is, I'm sorry, this is wrong. This is average total cost. I draw the average total cost. This is average total cost. Let me remove this. We leave the total cost as it is, but I drew the wrong one. I'm sorry. So, okay, so that's the total cost. Then this is the marginal cost. Now, notice what marginal cost is. It's the cost of additional unit. Yeah, cost of additional unit. So marginal cost is change in total cost over change in quantity, 1 plus this thing. Now, and notice what, how this, you know how to calculate this, yeah? Marginal cost. It's the derivative of total cost with respect to the quantity. So this part here, let me just draw this or highlight this to explain you. This part here is important because this is, it doesn't have any variable here in this case, no Q attached to 25,000. So you ignore that. So this is the part coming down right here with, however, 16. That's because 2 times 8 gives us 16. Yeah. When you take the derivative of total cost, take derivative of total cost with respect to derivative, with respect to quantities, it gives us, so 1 plus 2 times this long number. So that's 8 times 2, 10 to the power of how many zeros? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 zeros here times quantity. So that's the total cost here. Sorry, marginal cost here. Yeah. So that's marginal cost. Where Q is, okay, assume that marginal cost is greater than the average cost at every point along the firm's marginal cost curve, and the total cost includes a normal profit. Okay, fine. Now, derive the firm's supply curve expressing quantity as a function of price. Okay, what did we say about the supply curve of a competitive firm?
It's the MC curve.
Yeah, and this is our MC curve. So it's not the entire MC curve, is it?
The bottom bit.
It's the part above the average variable cost, yeah?
Yeah. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So it's this part here, because firms do not produce if the price goes down below the average, average variable cost. So it's this part. So watch the lecture, please, if you are still not clear about this part. So basically, MC curve, marginal cost curve, above the part of the marginal cost curve, above the average variable cost curve, is the short run supply curve. And remember, profit maximizing quantity. Firms produce the quantities that maximize their profit. So price is equal to MC. So at each point here, as a result, at each point here, price is equal to marginal cost. Yeah. And remember, supply is a function of quantity and price. Yeah. So MC at each point equal to price. So we now can derive the supply curve then based on this assumption. So in that case, price equals marginal cost, which now leads us to write this equation like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 8, Q. That's 1, 6, isn't it? I'm sorry.
Sorry, sir. Hello?
I'm rewriting this part here because marginal cost is this, isn't it?
Brilliant.
Yeah. This thing here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, actually 4. I wrote one additional here. I put one additional there. Even more. 4 zeros and 16. Q. I hope this is clear to you guys. I am equating price to marginal cost following this principle where price for a perfectly competitive firm, the profit maximizing quantities along this curve, yeah, quantities here, is when the price equals marginal cost. Yeah, so I took the price, equated to marginal cost. Now, because this is a supply curve, I need to express the.
So,
yeah, go ahead.
Someone's asking, elaborate why P equals MC.
Ooh, I did that here. Where is it?
Early on in.
This one, yeah. Here. This is the same principle, guys. Yeah, this is also explained in details on my lecture. Please watch it, and if you still don't understand it, do please book an office hour. I can explain, but in the meantime, right now I won't be able to going back and doing it. It's already 22 past, actually 11. Yeah, so I will go ahead with this now, and I'll encourage you to watch it, please. If you still don't understand it, I'm happy to explain you, yeah? But in this case, I will just go ahead, guys. So you should also do a bit of independent study. So, okay, I'll just go back and give you the one clue here, is that the reason MC becomes the supply curve is because of the idea that in order to supply the next unit, the firm should be convinced that at least they get the price. Yeah, at least they get the price that covers the marginal cost. So as you can see, they keep producing as long as the price is equal to marginal cost. So this is the quantities combining price and quantity. Yeah, these are so marginal cost curve is now effectively combining the price and quantity for a supply curve. So it's mimicking the supply curve as a result. Yeah, and remember, if the price is this much, we draw the price curve here, constant price. So the profit maximizing point is this point. Let's say something happened in the market, price shifts upwards, next point gives us a new price. And again, firm doesn't produce here because it's gonna be inefficient. Firm doesn't produce here because it's loss, so they stick here. So as a result, price is equal to marginal cost. And then there's something happens, price goes up. This is price 3 now. And again, the profit maximizing point is along the marginal cost curve where the price crosses marginal cost curve. So if you connect these dots, along the marginal cost curve. It's actually supply curve. Decision to supply is based on this principle. And I explained that in the lectures as well. That's why, yeah. But that's a clue. You need to do a bit of more reading here, guys. It's not going to be enough even if you understood it right now. Do please go back and get more insights. So this is now inverse demand. So I have to express Q in terms of P. So what do we do now? We divide both sides of the equation, or maybe I'll just, yeah, divide, subtract from both sides this part. Yeah, you know how to solve this equation, I suppose. Yeah, but subtract, and then also the price, so that you have the Q on this side. Equaling 1 minus P, yeah? And divide both sides now by this value. Times P. Now I need a calculator here. Maybe I'll have a look at the what's in my typed answers. What do I have here? Okay, that is basically quantity supplied is 62 500. One thing I don't realize is that did I make any mistake here? Yes, I did. There's a minus here, remember, because that part, this part, the yellow part, moved to the left. So that means this is plus, that's minus, yeah. So that's minus, this is plus 62,500 times P. So this is our now quantity supply equation. Yeah, hopefully this is clear to you. Does this make sense overall? Well, do you have this sort of intuitive understanding of what's going on here? No answers, so I may need to provide you with more questions of this type then. Okay, so derive the market supply curve if New England Textiles is one of 500 competitors. Well, as usual, as before, we multiply this individual supply curve by the number of firms, 500. This gives us whatever the answer is here. I'll copy now because it's going to take otherwise time. Minus 3125000 plus 3125000 times P. So this is the market supply as a result. Yeah, that's the answer to this question. Now, do you have any other question, guys? Okay, this is an easy one then, isn't it? So market supply, let's put M here, this is market supply, equals 60, so minus 62,500 plus, oh no, what am I doing here? It's market supply, so minus 3125000 plus 3125000 times the price. Right now it's 2, so times the price. That gives you, well, it turns out it's 3125000. So that's the answer. Yeah. 2 of these minus 1 of that gives us what is left. So this is the supply at the price that much, yeah? This is the quantity supplied.